Okay, so in this week's test, we're going to take a look at the Intel A380 graphics card. This card does not have any PCI cable inputs, so that means it receives its power from the PCI bus, which means the power should be limited to around 65 to 70 watts. But that's a good thing, because that makes it more viable to a Plex server transcoding enthusiast. Now I have all my settings loaded up correctly, so let's go ahead and proceed with the test. Let me go ahead and we got that. Let me put this to dashboard. All right. So we have the dashboard here. All right. So we finally ready to start. And let me explain to you why we're using Google Chrome. We're going to start out the first movie. This is the only Remux movie I have out of the two. This is about 60 gigs. My other ones are anywhere between 15 gigs to 25 gigs. So start from the beginning. We go here, and once it's start up and it's rolling, all right, we're gonna go ahead and force the transcode. Let's go back here and let's see what's going on. Let's see when it hardware transcodes. Glory is not a bad movie at all. I like Glory. It's definitely a classic. A lot of legends that was in it. Morgan Freeman and Denzel Washington. So let me see right here. Is it even? See, this is an issue you run into. I notice it does this with the GPU transcoding. You got to let the movie play for longer than, you know, what you usually let it play for before you can force the transcode. I don't know why it's like that with the GPU. When I was doing it with my i5-10400, I didn't have that problem. In the last video, if you saw it, I just immediately started the transcode. But on here, for some reason with the GPU, you gotta let it play for a minute and then force the transcode and it'll go through. So, all right, boom, I hit it there. And let's see if it go through. All right, boom. Now it's hardware transcode. I don't know why it does it like that. But the reason why we're using Plex is Google Chrome in the tabs, they have this speaker box. If this speaker box goes away, that means we have too much pressure on the system. That's when we know we're running into issues. That means it's buffering basically if this speaker box goes away. So that's how you can tell, you know, what it's able to do. So we got the first movie set up. So let's jump back in here and let's just run through a few things. As you can see, we're pulling like 4 gigs. That didn't really change. Total CPU usage around 10%. That shouldn't really play a major role because, like I said, we're hardware transcoding. We're not stream transcoding. Temperatures, that's not really an issue. As you can see, the iGPU is doing nothing at all. It's on the couch. It's sitting down resting. It's not doing nothing at all. Oh, wait a minute. No. This is the GPU. I thought we was on the iGPU. No. This is what does a lot right here. So these two, that's the GPU. So hold up here is what I was talking about originally. That's doing nothing, 0%. That's the iGPU. It's sitting on the couch. It ain't doing much. And we're gonna check the UPS. Now we're at 54 watts. We didn't really change. So we're going to check back in with this when we get to the 5th movie. We're not going to do this after every movie. That's going to take too long. So boom, we got that running. Let's go to the Sixth Sense classic movie. Y'all already know if you haven't seen this. I don't know what you've been doing, or maybe you're just real young. But this is definitely one of the movies you want to jump back to and check out. So we're going to let it load up for a second, and then we're going to force the transcode. I don't know why it's like that with the GPU, man. Yeah, okay, that should be enough. Let's force the transcode and let's go back to the dashboard. Boom. All right, the hardware transcode there. Let's proceed to the 3rd movie, Hocus Pocus. Do not judge me. You know what I mean? Hocus Pocus, the original one, was definitely a classic when I was a kid. It was definitely a classic. I don't know why they took this long to do a 2nd movie, but whatever, man. Let's start from the beginning. I personally never watched this one yet. I just went ahead and got it. I didn't sit down and watch it yet, but maybe one day I will. So let's go ahead and get that running. Let's get to like 15 seconds so we don't run into that issue again. 15 seconds. Let's see. All right, maybe 15 is the lucky number. Let's see if it go ahead and start. All right, boom. Started the transcode. Good. We got 3 movies. Nothing is buffering. So let's go into the 4th movie, Home Alone. Come on now. This is just a classic. Definitely a classic when I was a kid. Jesus Christ. And it still rings off during Christmas. Don't sleep. It still rings off during Christmas. You gotta watch Home Alone, man. Just an amazing movie, man. Part 1, part 2, man. You just can't lose. Oh man, I started too early on that one. God damn. Started too early. I'm talking. Hold on. Is it gonna? Yeah, I started it too early. Damn. All right, we're gonna get back to that. One. Started too early talking nonsense. RESPECT, the Aretha Franklin movie. Only reason I got this movie was okay at best. It wasn't nothing amazing. Only reason I got this movie because the chick I was dealing with at the time wanted to see it. I wanted to make sure it was in HDR. You know what I mean? To get it right. You know what I mean? I had a lot of things to do that night. You heard? So I made sure I got that one. So let's make sure it load up, man. Let's get to that 15 seconds. Then we're going to force that transcode, man, because I don't want it to mess up like the last one. All right, 15. We good. Let me hit that 720p. Let's make sure it go through. What is it doing? All right, boom. There go the transcode. All right, let's jump back in with Home Alone, and then we're going to go check on the system again. All right, so Home Alone, start from beginning. Bong. All right, let's go ahead and get that 15 seconds. Let it load up. I don't know how that's going to affect if you're, I don't know how that's going to affect when you're playing the movie regularly in your client. So, all right, boom. Let's hit that. Check the dashboard, make sure it go through. All right, boom. Transcode went through. All right, cool. So let's check back in with the system now that we got 5 movies playing. And remember, check these, keep an eye on these. One of them go away, then we know we buffering. All right, cool. So now we jumped up to 6 gigabytes usage of memory. Total CPU usage 16%. Temperature is the same. Let's see here. Obviously, that's at 0%. The iGPU is doing nothing with. It has nothing to do with this stuff. So the ARC, 43 watts is the most it will do. Total CPU, 84%. We getting there, man. 89%. Jesus Christ, we getting up there. The media, 63. It's jumping around. So we definitely getting up there. We applying pressure to the situation. UPS load, right now we're pulling around 70 watts. It was just at like 70 something watts, 75 watts. So it's jumping around right now. That's the UPS load. That's how much watts the total system is pulling. All right, so let's proceed. We got to get to the next. We got a lot of things to do tonight. All right, so Avengers Infinity War, come on now. There ain't even nothing to talk about. This is just a classic. One of the greatest movies I ever seen. And I'm not even in. When I watched this movie, I didn't even know all these characters that they had in there. I didn't even know, man. I don't keep up with stuff like that, but it was just such an amazing movie, man. Even though I didn't even know all the characters, it still was just so amazing, man. Can't sleep on this movie, man. Thanos was just amazing. So, all right, we at the 15-second mark. Let me go ahead and hit that convert. Let's force that transcode. Let's jump back in here. Let's make sure it went through. Boom, transcode went through. All right. So we got 6 movies right now. Let's go ahead and start the next one, man. 7, Terminator. Come on now. This is a good movie right here. This is definitely a good movie, man. You know what I mean? They showed that they can still get it done. Arnold Schwarzenegger, man. This is definitely a classic series for when I was younger, man. I believe they said Terminator 2 was like the first movie that had this. The second movie was better than the first. I think that said that was the first time that was ever done. I think that's what the critics say. So let's force the transcode. We had 19 seconds. I overspoke. So let's go back here. Let's see if it went through. All right, it's already went through. All right, cool. So right now we at 7. Go ahead and start one more. Then we're going to check back in with our system. Sisu. All right. I never watched this movie. I just went ahead and got it. But I never really watched it. Let's go ahead and start this up though. So I can't tell you if it's good, bad, what. I can't give a rating of it at all. Let's wait till we hit that 15 seconds. That lucky 15, so we make sure the transcode go through so it's no issues. All right, boom. All right, bang, bang, bang. Let's make sure. Sue. Right now it's direct streaming. Let's see. All right, boom. Transcode went through. So let's check back in with our system over here. Well, what we have, we're up to 7 gigs being used. Total CPU usage 25%. It's not doing much. Temperature still hovering around. The arc, where we at right here, jumping 73%. It was just at 98%. It's still not there yet. We still got a lot more to go. We could do a lot more. And total UPS usage, we just jumped up to around 80. It was just at 82, so it's still jumping around. So that means we can still get a lot of things done. Oh, wait a minute, was that just buffering? Hold on, was that just buffering, bro? It should not be buffering. Hold on. Let's check back in with the system. All right, maybe it was just getting itself together, because that shouldn't be buffering, not yet. Let's see. Let's go to the next movie. Ambulance is going to be the last HDR10 movie that we have. All right, so go ahead and start from the beginning. All right, let's get to that 50-second. Ambulance was okay. It was nothing really, nothing amazing about it. It was just really, it wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was just something to watch. You know what I mean? It was just one of those things to watch. That's all you could really say about it. All right, let's force that transcode because we at the 15-second mark. Let's see what's going on. If it go through, and let's keep an eye on that Sisu because that just messed up. It's direct streaming right now. Oh, we at 9. Okay. All right, boom. There go the transcode. We at 9. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure right there, man. 9 is a lot. That's a lot. We definitely, that's a lot right there. 9 is a lot. So let's see where we at. Total usage right now, 99%. See, when you get to that 99%, 100%, that's where you basically tapped out, man. And that goes across the board, man. If you was just doing stream transcoding and your CPU usage is at 100%, that's basically where you tapped out, man. We're at 86 watts officially. We're around 80 watts officially right now. And you can see 9 gigs of memory used. When you transcode in those 4Ks, bro, that memory start getting chewed up. So let's see, man. We're not officially tapped out yet because they're all running. Let's try to add another movie, man. Hold on. This is the perfect movie, The Nun. I didn't really sit down and watch this one yet, but the first one was definitely a real good movie, man. It's part of that little they got, that series they got, man. This is definitely a good movie. I didn't watch this one particularly yet, but the first one was definitely a good movie. Let's go ahead and start it up. It's gonna scare off The Nun. Gonna scare off them transcodes, man. It's gonna scare off them transcodes. You know how she get down, man. I gotta watch this joint. I really gotta sit down and watch this. All right, so 15-second mark. Let's go ahead and push that. All right, The Nun gonna scare off them transcodes, man. That's what she do, man. She did a F with people, man. Let's see if it go through. It didn't start yet. Hold on, we might be there. We might be there. That's 10 transcodes. So it did 9. It did not. Oh yeah, that's a dub. It didn't even start. It never started. It's just direct streaming. And let you know right now, direct playing is nothing. It can direct play stuff, no problem. This is actually direct stream. Maybe that's a little different. But maybe it's using the CPU to do that. So yeah, we tapped out. 10 is tapped out. So the lucky number is actually 9 because this didn't. It's just buffering. It finally got there, but it's still buffering. It finally got there. That took a long time, but it's definitely buffering. So I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna throw in the towel, man, because I say 9 is the number, man. Now you can direct play as many movies as you want. Even with this much transcode, you can still add a direct play movie in there because the direct play doesn't really have to change nothing about the file. It just pushes it straight through. It just if it does change anything, it's a little bit of a change. It's nothing serious. So I want to say 9 is the lucky number for the A380. If you want it to play simultaneously without issue, without buffering, just straight through, that's the number. And it lines up, man. Once you hit that 99% of whatever you're using, that's when you know that's the number. So 9 is the lucky number, man. What I'm gonna do is let's see how many watts we pulling. Are we pulling 72 watts? Now, to some people, this might not be a great card. To some, you might be like, oh, it's only 9. You know, I believe my lucky number for the i5-10400 was 7. I believe it could do 8, but I think 7 was the lucky number because you want it to do it comfortably. You don't want anything to buffer. So whatever you tap out at, I say go down 1. So it definitely beats out that. And you got to remember, it's only pulling 43 watts. That's the limit to how much it can pull all together. That is a great thing because it has no PCIe input connectors. You can't plug any cables into it. So that means it gets all its power from the bus. So that's a beautiful thing. So total GPU power that is using is 24 watts. So it ain't even hit that 43 watts mark. And that's a good thing. Now, you might think it's not all that great, but someone that has this set up in a server environment, a Proxmox virtual machine server, maybe they have their Plex in a container. This is what you want right here, man. Something that's low wattage, that's not pulling a lot of watts, anything crazy. So 72 watts altogether, man, to get it done, man. I forgot how much I was pulling. Feel free to go back to my Plex video when I did the transcode on the i5-10400, because I believe when we got to 7 or 8, we was pulling way more. I believe we was pulling more watts than 72 watts. So this is definitely an efficient card to use if you need it, you know, especially in those server environments. All right, so that's that. Thank you for tuning in and running through these tests with me. The reason I did these videos is because it wasn't a lot of people out there actually doing it officially, you know, doing content on this. So I wanted to go ahead and jump in that space and do it. What I'm going to do next is the 750. I'm going to get my hands on the 750 and we're going to test that one out. And after I do the 750, I'm going to do the Intel Arc 770. We're going to test all 3 of them out and we're going to see what they all totally can do. And we're going to use the same movies, the same setup, same everything. So if you like that, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when I do that next video. All right. So that's DeMarco Payne with Geek Shh. And last but not least, may the good news be yours.